Hi guys, it's Laffy, and today, in light of a lot of us feeling a little bit down in terms of being a Western Lost Ark player, I figured I would bring you a little bit of good news that has happened in the past couple days. I know the western region of Lost Ark has been feeling a little bit like the redheaded stepchild of Smilegate, considering that KR seems to get all the good stuff and we just get problems. However, I did want to review these very small but very good changes to our version specifically, because I do think that a lot of people tend to overestimate how much power Amazon has over a lot of the decision making. We've had a couple of fiascos happen in the past. While I do not claim to know exactly who is responsible, I do know that publishers tend to have much less responsibility and decision making as players anticipate from them. But that aside, I wanted to share a little bit of good news that happened in the past couple days to hopefully lift our spirits in light of a lot of the stuff that has been going on lately on our region specifically. Now, a lot of you have probably seen this image or some sort of iteration of this dip going around. It's been a pretty heated topic, and I just wanted to share this as has everyone else, because it is a pretty big deal. This is reflective of a pretty large ban wave that we've received, I believe yesterday or the day before, where a lot of the bots got banned by Amazon. Now, in terms of how they did it and why this bot wave was specifically so big, Rox did come out in the forums, and she discussed in a few different topics that had conversations about bots. She did mention that they have been rolling out ban waves that have been much smaller, just to kind of try to keep down the population of the bots, but as we all know, they multiply kind of like cockroaches. They're very much unstoppable. But this ban wave recently has driven up the prices for gems. It has reflected greatly, as we can see on the Steam charts for the game, and I wanted to share what the official Lost Ark account that communicates with players has shared in regards to this on the forums. Now, I do have a screenshot of this, but if you go to the forums and you click on Dev Tracker, you will be able to see this. This is quite recent. So from official news on the forums, it says, Heroes of Arcadia, this week many players have noticed a drop-off in the number of concurrent users displayed in Lost Ark Steam stats. This change is the direct result of a rollout of a significant number of bot account bans, which utilize new and highly effective tactics to target and remove bots from the game. Players should expect these bot bans to have a positive impact on gameplay, including improved market and auction house experiences, thank you very much, decreased lag in heavily populated areas, and fewer bots present in the game. In the coming months, we will continue to deploy large-scale bot ban waves, implementing new methods of identifying and actioning against bots en masse. We will keep players updated about the deployment and impacts of these ban waves as they occur. Thank you for your patience as we continue working to improve Lost Ark. So these two things are connected, as I've obviously this is talking about this large dip that happened. However, I did have a few things to say. So first of all, this massive bot ban wave has happened prior. I think it was a few months ago when a very, very similar thing happened. However, it seems that ever since then, it feels to an average player that not much has happened, because we haven't seen a large dip like that in a while. Now, they, like I mentioned earlier, Rox did say that they have been rolling out smaller ones, but it does look like here they seem to have utilized like the account says, new and highly effective tactics to target and remove bots from the game. So it sounds like, however, now I'm very technologically challenged. I don't know how this works internally. However, from the verbiage in this post, it does seem like they've discovered, or developed rather, a new way of tracking down bots and actually banning them. So that, coupled with the fact that they said that they will deploy these large-scale bot ban waves similar to the one that happened recently within the next couple months, in the coming months, so maybe not couple, but in the coming months. So it does sound like this positive thing will be happening more frequently. Now, I have one big major thought about this, and this is purely subjective, and I know some people might not agree with me, but from tons and tons of discussions I've heard from other streamers, I've participated in myself, with my friends, with my community on my stream, in other people's chats and everything, because this is a big topic of discussion, obviously, for a Western Lost Ark player, is that I think, in my opinion, is that the second a game, an MMORPG specifically, goes free to play, it's going to have bots, and it's impossible to get rid of them completely. I don't think there's ever going to be a measure that anyone will be able to develop within the near future that will be able to detect bots and automatically ban them, thus completely ridding the game from bots, unless we have something like the Korean measures, which is that we simply just cannot employ in the West. That being said, though, I think because of that, it's the best way to combat bots, so to speak, in my opinion, is to just keep tripping them at every step that they take. The people who develop these bot programs and the people who run them make a lot of money from them, and it's not just a student sitting in his basement and running these on a separate PC. These are people whose livelihood depends on this. These are people whose income depends on this to feed their family. Now, I'm not saying this to try to invoke any sympathy. I'm saying this to emphasize the fact that they will keep working to update their software, to rewrite their scripts, whatever the hell they're doing behind the scenes. They will keep coming. There's no way to get rid of them entirely unless the game itself dies. As long as there's a way to make money from the game through botting, they will keep doing it and they will keep coming back, whatever methods you employ. So I do think that one of the best ways to combat bots is doing exactly this, is to deploy these large-scale bot bans, make them re-level, make them regrind, and then ban them again. So whatever it is that they have utilized that they say is highly effective tactic to target and remove bots from the game, good. And I'm really glad that they're saying that in the coming months there will be more of these actual large-scale ban waves. Now, I don't know on the side of Amazon Studios, Amazon Game Studios, how I guess time-consuming or how pricey it is to do these ban waves. I'm simply assuming from layman's perspective that all you have to do is bring the servers down and run whatever they're running and just ban them. I don't think it actually takes that much sort of financial investment, but again, this is just purely subjective from the point of view of somebody who doesn't entirely understand the system or cannot even begin to. So one thing I do want to share, that this is great news. We're going to get large ban waves, and we're going to be, well, Amazon for us is going to be tripping up these bots at every step and making it as annoying as possible to get to the end game and overtake the auction house, overtake the market prices and all of that. And I do think this is a fantastic thing. It may seem like a very small bit of news because, in the light of what KR is getting these days, a new class and all these new updates and law on and all of that stuff. But for us specifically, this is a very specific issue to our region. And I think it's fantastic that we're getting these fixes from Amazon. And I think it's a really, really great thing that they will, first of all, they promise to let us know when they've got any updates. We will keep players updated about the deployment and impacts of these ban waves, so they're being transparent, or at least they're promising to be transparent. And the number one thing that excites me the most about this is that they're going to keep doing them, because we've had one of these in the past, and it seems like it felt like for months and months after nothing much happened. These large ban waves will really help out with kind of keeping the population of bots at bay. They repopulate like cockroaches. They're always going to come back. So I keep saying we, but really Amazon just has to be quite as consistent as the bots. The bots will always consistently come back. So Amazon has to keep rolling these ban waves out essentially infinitely. Whatever is the best cadence for them, they're going to decide that on their end. But I think this is literally one of the best ways to kind of curb their growth, is to just keep banning them and make it as annoying as possible to have to bot at Lost Ark. Now, the second thing is just a small mention on the forums, but it is a pretty big one considering how many players have been asking for it. So it is a post that has now been posted 3 days ago from Roxanne, community manager, and she had written, region merges is a functionality that is being worked on for potential use now. It is not ready to go quite yet, but we're aware especially of the situation with Europe West, and looking ahead to be able to improve this in the future. Now, For those of you that were around in the very beginning, I know this is something big that Stoops asked for kind of a few days before, so it was kind of an unrealistic ask, and I'm sure he was aware of it, but it is something that he wanted to put a light on, that this is something that we might have a necessity for, and here it is. I do believe that in the past they have actually mentioned that it is quite impossible for them to do, but now it looks like the wording in this is very important. Here is that it's being worked on for potential use and it's not quite ready to go yet. So it sounds like they have something tangible. It sounds like they really just have something on their hands that they're testing out and they think that might work. I do trust that they will continue to work on this and they will implement it eventually, because Europe West specifically, and Roxanne even mentioned it in the post, that's a pretty big one, right? People who are stuck, so to speak, on Europe West understand the pain of the prices and the loneliness of like trying to find parties and having to pay almost double or triple. I mean, I don't really follow their economy, but I'm sure the prices there are just very different than what we have on NA East or even on EU Central. So I do think it's a great piece, very small bit of news for us, but it's a light of hope. It's a ray of hope for something that we've been shut down from before, and we were told that the functionality quite literally does not exist and we're unable to do this ever in the future. I'm sure bringing people who play on Europe West much despair and maybe some thoughts of quitting or having to restart all over. And we all know how Lost Ark is. Your progress on your account matters so much, like the horizontal progression, your alts. There's just so much about your specific account that when you simply restart the game, I mean, unless you're a whale, it's really difficult to catch up on those things like runes and all of that. So, I mean, skill potions, I could keep going. I mean, we all know, we all played the game. It's really hard to restart on a new region. I do know a couple of people who have restarted on a new region, specifically coming from the NA West to NA East, because I play on NA East and I've kind of talked them into it. And as much as they don't regret it, they do feel a little bit burnt out having to regrind everything all over again, because you do not have anything from your previous account. Nothing is shared cross-region. So this is fantastic news. I remember having a discussion about this on my stream, and the first question, kind of common question that was asked is how would they handle names? I do think that in the grand scheme of things, looking at the impact of the economy of having a very small isolated region, however they decide to handle the names would be fine by me. Whoever logs in first, I don't know how they're gonna do it. However, because names aren't server-based, they're region-based, right? So somebody can't have the name Laufey on NA East Azina and also a Laufey on NA East Una, for example. So a name is region-specific. So when they're going to be merging these regions, probably sometime far away in the future when this is all finalized and ready to go, I do think that's something that they would have to kind of look at and figure out. But to me, it's a valid question. It's a valid concern for sure, especially for people who have really cool, rare names. But I think the importance of being able to play on a unified region with a better economy, a lot of players and a lot of friends to be made, and a lot of parties to be filled in lobbies to fill and to gatekeep. I think it's, in the grand scheme of things, a really important piece of information for us. So I know the general attitude towards Lost Ark right now. I mean, I stream this game every single day, and a lot of new players come into my stream. A lot of people kind of complain. We have a lot of these discussions, and I don't want to use the word complain necessarily, because it's kind of diminishes the issues that people express concern with. But in my opinion, there has been a pretty significant drop in the morale of the player base. So I did want to highlight news. Typically, like, my videos typically handle kind of bigger topics. Like, I usually review like patch notes and like big patches and stuff like that. But I did want to make a separate video just highlighting two very small but very, very important, specifically for us in the West, pieces of news that will go a long way when they're both implemented the way that they are described, both with the region merges and with the consistent large-scale bot ban waves, and not just a one and done for several months. So I'm looking forward to these changes. I'm specifically looking forward to region merges because I play on a popular region, but I've always felt bad for people who are kind of stuck on isolated regions. So I'm hoping that they do end up finding the I hope they finalize this and are able to do it successfully. And however they handle names, I guess we'll have to see. But yes, I do definitely feel the general frustration from the community. Partially myself, I am getting the burnout. I am getting all of that. I mean, my love for my main class is the only thing that saves me these days from burnout. So that being said, it is nice to sit down and kind of win one, you know? On the West, like I said at the beginning, I've always felt like we are the redheaded stepchild of Smilegate, so it's good to win one. And hopefully these two will be wins for us and not just empty promises. It could be anything, and you know, as a jaded MMORPG player who has played plenty of Korean MMORPGs before, it's hard to stay hopeful, I understand, but as much as I hate putting my expectations high and having them disappointed, I would rather do that than maintain a doomer perspective the entire time I'm playing a game that I very much enjoy still, despite the flaws that it has. So I hope that you guys can stay hopeful while you're either taking a break or grinding or whatever you're doing. And if you're stuck on those isolated regions, then there's a potential ray of hope for you as well. So yeah, thank you very much for watching the video. I stream every day except for Tuesday. I stream Lost Ark, but I do hope to stream Blue Protocol in the future. So stay tuned for that. But if you haven't heard of me, my name is Lofty. I main Deadeye. I have 3 of them. And check me out on twitch.tv/LoftyLOL. I stream every day except for Tuesday at 9 p.m. EST. And thank you for watching the video. I'll see you later.